This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 123. Due to traveling, here is one of the three movies I was able to watch this week before I'm going out of town. First one is My Zoe. And it was a depressing movie, and people are like, it's not a horror film, but it's like a horrific way to view life where you and your ex are fighting all the time about your custody battle, and you're trying to get a job so you don't have to travel, and you have to do this, but then he's making it difficult on you, so you can't go to that interview, and it's all about them fighting, and then, of course, figuring out a nanny and a babysitter because they're arguing with each other, and their schedules are not gelling the way they're supposed to. An accident happens, and the daughter gets injured and sick, and they're not sure if she's going to live or not, and they're all about blaming each other for what happened. So I felt like this was a sad movie that's almost an hour and 2 minutes, probably less than that, probably 98, 99 minutes. I'm just like, I don't understand this movie. It was depressing. There was no point in making the movie. You could have just been like, have some more nuance to it. It was okay. And the only interesting aspect of the movie was Daniel Brühl was like a world-renowned like scientist expert, cloning or something, and she's a scientist, so there's cloning involved because of what happened with the daughter and her trying to do this and stuff. And it was interesting because I know Daniel Brühl, obviously, from plenty of movies, including the Captain America franchise, but it took like almost an hour into this movie for him to even to pop up, and you're just like, okay, so he's not the husband, it's the other dude, and the other dude doesn't really give you that much. He's like, I don't know. Then Brühl's wife in the movie took up a lot of scenes, and I was like, yeah, that's wasteful. Then I watched the movie Joe Bell. I can say this, Mark Wahlberg, you always sound like you're from Boston, but you must have gone to a dialect coach because it sounded like you were from the South or something, okay? And this was based off a true story about a kid who was bullied for being gay, and they kept harassing and bothering him. The school wouldn't do anything to the point where he committed suicide. And the father took a pledge to go from the West Coast to New York where his son wanted to go to school and wouldn't stop. He would just continue to speak out about bullying and anti-hate and accepting for people who they were. And Connie Britton played the wife, and they put like so much makeup and special effects. I couldn't tell it was Connie Britton, and she's a gorgeous woman, so they did a very good job there. The kid in the movie, he did a great job. Reed Miller. Gary Sinise was in the movie playing a sheriff who had a similar situation where his son is gay and he had to accept it. And because it's based on a true story, you all know what happens. The kid dies. I'm not going to spoil it about Mark Wahlberg's character, but it was very sad and depressing, the end of the movie. And it was a little bit slow churning for a movie that is listed at 94 minutes. But it's more like an hour and 28 minutes with credits of the photos of the real-life kid and all the family and stuff. So, yeah, it's a good enough movie to watch, but the ending just makes you go, why did I watch the movie in the first place? It wasn't a fulfilling ending, but they have to go based on a true story. Another movie I watched, which was Snake Eyes. Now, the people that made G.I. Joe, with Channing Tatum and other, Hasbro, Mattel, whoever owns the direct rights to this movie, to the G.I. Joe franchise, they're like, you know what? I don't know if we want to continue to make more and more G.I. Joe movies, but let's take one of the characters from the G.I. Joe Snake Eye as they make an origin story. But let's make it confusing where it won't take place in the past to set up the G.I. Joe movies that already happened. It's going to seem like it takes place present day. And, of course, we'll start off when he's a little kid and why his name is Snake Eye and how he got to be in G.I. Joe and all this other stuff. And all these other characters, and they made it where every single character pretty much was Asian, and they knew how to do martial art, kung fu, handle swords and weapons, and there's like crime families and monasteries, and you have like these different senseis, and it was cool that one of the sensei, I know him from Midnight Texas, and he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as an alien before, so he was playing a blind sensei, and then this other sensei, he was in the Skyline and other movies where he's a martial arts expert. So that was pretty cool. And then they had some token white woman in the movie where she works for the United States government. Then you have like Cobra, so they introduced the evil aspects of Cobra, working with the evil, the evil gangsters that are in, Japan. So you got the ancient people that have been supposedly on the side of good, and then you have the the crime syndicate family, and then you have the character Storm Shadow as well, so you learn about his origin thing. And I felt it was too cliche, over the top, too like obvious in terms of the Asian culture and stuff. It's interesting. I liked it because there's definitely enough action scenes, enough fighting. There's no dumb unneeded romance as well, so that was fine. Because even the woman who like works for the, Storm Shadow's family, she could handle herself and fight, so that was interesting. But yeah, for someone who watched the G.I. Joe cartoons, read the comics, had the action figures, I liked it. Just Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians and some rom-com is British, okay? But also I felt like a too pretty of an actor to actually do any of the fighting scenes or get punched in the face continuously, so we definitely had stunt double. So it was a little unrealistic in that way, but I hope they make a sequel. And it just doesn't have to be 2 hours long. They can make 90 or an hour and 40-minute movie, and that would totally be fine for this movie. But overall, I liked it the most because it was an action movie there wasn't a lot of lull scenes. It was just like, we get it. But yeah, Mark Wahlberg did a really good job in this movie, and this was a little bit too, both of them were a little bit too depressing. Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observation number 123. For On the Rainer Table Blog, I'm Raider. See you guys next time.